Hey everyone, Nate here. Today's data science interview question comes from Microsoft. So the interview question is called Employee Project Budgets. It's by Microsoft. The question reads, find the top 5 most expensive projects by the amount of budget allocated to each employee on the project. Exclude projects with 0 employees. Assume each employee works on only one project. The amount should be the project title and the budget that's allocated to each employee, meaning a budget to employee ratio. Display the top 5 projects with the highest budget to employee ratio first. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is take a look at the underlying data because we want to try to figure out where we can find employee and project information. So the first table we'll take a look at is MS Projects. So if I click this preview button here, you get this table where we have the title of the project and the budget allocated for each project. So the next thing we'll do is take a look at the employee project table here. And this table has the employee ID mapped to each project. So we know that what we want to do is join the project table with the employee projects table. So now let's write our approach to the solution. So the first thing we want to do is join the two tables together. We're going to want to use an inner join because of this assumption here, where it says exclude projects with 0 employees. So if we use an inner join, that will filter out all employees that are not mapped to a project. So once I have that join, I know that I'll have the title of the project, the budget, and then all of the employees mapped to that project. So what we want to do next is come up with the formula for the budget to employee ratio. So that's actually going to look like this. We're going to have the budget here, and then we'll count the employees that are mapped to each project. So that should give us the budget to employee ratio. So one thing to consider is this assumption right here. Assume each employee works on only one project. That's a good assumption to have because it means that we don't need to do any fancy math in terms of counting employees. We can count one employee to one project. If you consider another scenario where one employee is linked to multiple projects, you might have to count that employee like part-time on each project. So to give you an example, if one employee works on 2 projects, you might have to count that employee as 0.5 on one project and 0.5 on another project. But with that assumption where one employee works on one project, we'll just count each employee as 1. And then the next step is going to be ordering by the top budget to employee ratios. And lastly, we want to implement a limit 5 to get the top 5 projects. So with the approach all written out, we can start coding. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is join the two tables together using an inner join. So in terms of the keys that I'll use to join the tables together, for the projects table, I'll use the ID column. And then for the employee projects table, I'll use the project ID column. So that way I know project IDs are being linked together. So that takes care of joining the tables together. Next, what we want to do is calculate a budget to employee ratio using the formula right here. So what I'll do now is just type in budget divided by the count of employees. So it should be EMP ID. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add the title of the project to the select clause. I'm going to name this column here as budget employee ratio. So now because of that, I need to add in a group by. And here we're going to group by both the title and the budget because I have the title here, which is a column, and I have budget here, which is also a column. And then I'm counting the employee IDs using the count function here. So the 2 columns that are not in a function or being aggregated are the 2 that I'll add to the group by. And then I'll add in an order by budget employee ratio, and I'll make sure that the highest ratio is listed first. And then I'm going to just take the top 5 using a limit 5. So that should do it. Let's run this code. All right, so we have 5 projects, and let's check the solution. And it looks like we're correct. So that should be it for this question. If you have any feedback or questions about this interview question, please leave a comment.